Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about some Meshtastic devices I've been using for a few months. There's about 5 items I've been testing around and seeing what works best for my needs. Some of them are standalone devices, others are more dependent on the UI for Meshtastic, which is the Meshtastic app for either Android or the Apple phone or the computer. So here on the table we have a variety of different items. We have from left to right, we have Panasonic FCM1 Mark III running Meshsense on a Windows 10 computer or Windows 11. We have the Meshtastic app on a Android phone, and this is the latest one, which has the trace routes involved where you can see where things are getting traced. And then we have from left to right here for the modules or the transceivers, we have a Cardpeter ADV or advanced unit with a LoRa cap module. That's a little module that plugs into the pins up here and attaches to this Cardpeter. This is the Meshtastic one. We have set it up for 915 megahertz or thereabouts, and this is the back of the unit, and it's got standalone keypad and its own UI here. Next up is the LilyGo TDEC Plus. Now I modified this one. This one had an internal antenna on it, and I drilled a hole on top and put my own external antenna on it. This comes in 2 varieties, the internal module, which I got, and one that's already pre-made like that. So you can choose to have that pre-made or do it yourself, whichever. But this one has a different UI compared to the baseline UI, which is on the Cardpeter ADV. And we'll go over that a little bit in just a moment here. But this is an ESP32 module, much like the Cardpeter ADV, that's also ESP32. Next up is an NRF type module, and it's very power efficient. This is the Seat Studio Wheel Tracker L1, and this comes in the default case here. I did modify the antenna on it. It comes with a bendable antenna, much like this one that normally goes on there, and a different type of SMA connector. So I had to get an aftermarket one and aftermarket antenna for this one, but it does have a GPS module in it, much like these two. And we have an interface system very similar to the Cardpeter one on it. We have a couple buttons here with joystick here. It's a 5-way joystick with an enter button and 4 up and down, left, right. And then we have a reset button on the side here and a physical switch here to turn it on and off, and a USB-C charging port, much like the rest of these devices here. Next up is the Heltech V3 Meshnology unit, and in its default cheapo case. I say cheapo because it doesn't really fit that well. You kind of have to fidget with it to really get the fit, and it never really fits exactly. You got a couple cracks here. Just peeking up, and you try to press fit it doesn't exactly do that. We have 2 buttons on the side here, a display button, enter button, mode button, and a reset button here. USB-C rechargeable, default antenna. I put a small zip tie on here for hanging it if I need to. And then next up we have the Seat Studio Sense Cap. This is a one and done unit. Basically it's got an internal antenna, a uncommon type of USB charging cable system, and it has GPS, a buzzer in it, LED, and a button here, which kind of acts as a catch-all button. So this one's the best one for carrying in terms of size and weight and convenience. Now let's go into depth with some of these. Not too much in depth, but just a general overview. This one is the Cardpeter ADV. It's made for other stuff like pin testing, and you can run other firmware on here. Right now I'm running M5 Launcher on here. That's like a different UI you can upload to it. It has an SD card at the top here, has a couple buttons on here, an IR port, another IO port over here, and obviously the pin port here, which is that hat that's plugged into it. This has got a pin port. You can plug it in, plug it out. I have it screwed in on here so it doesn't fall off or come off too fast. USB-C charging port, speaker 1 watt, and a headphone port mono, and a little lanyard holder here on the side. This one I wanted a pin testing device that I could interchange hats with. It's sort of like a nice little fun gadget for any tech kind of guys. You can run Bruce on here, you can run all kinds of things on here, but right now we're running it for Meshtastic. It's got a nice keyboard. It kind of reminds me of the old 90s pagers and the bricks, as we call them. Our family, because my father worked for IBM and he had like had a brick MDT. That's a Motorola data terminal. Basically, these data terminals would be texting each other back in the day when they were working for IBM. So quite interesting devices. This is like a mini brick to me. Let's do a little test here. We can type in test. You have to kind of wait for the text sometimes, but test, push enter, and all these will start beeping. You got messages popping up. It's got a confirmation. That even makes a noise. and all these will have a little message thing saying, hey, we got a new message on it. So that's how the Meshtastic works with this one. The UI is fairly simple. You scroll with the mode button on the top here, and the enter button and the escape button, or the back button, will get you out of things. We have hops, signals. I don't know if you can kind of see that with the screen protector on it, but it's kind of, it gets you like last heard here. Bearings, if the thing has a GPS in it from whatever you're listening to. Right now we don't have any GPS positions on the satellite, but right now we're on the long fast. We're on frequency 906.875, which is the main channel, LF20. We have heap and flash, reversion, uptime, all that, and information system time here. And then we also have just sort of like your favorite modules in the computer itself. And this one goes back to the home screen. And you can do different things on the home screen. You can push enter, and then you can scroll down, send position, which we can do. Send position, go back to the scroll screen, keep moving around, push enter, put new messages in there, preset messages, etc., etc. The UI is pretty interesting. It's straightforward. The only issue with this UI is that you cannot save messages, meaning if you get a message, right, like the one we saw there before, it'll only stay on the screen until you get a new message, and then it replaces that message. So you don't have the ability to go back in history and check your messages, your message log, so to speak. So that's a con of this. And the other con is that it's not a backlit keyboard. Not a big con, but I like my backlit keyboards, much like the one on the LilyGo, for a standalone device. Now you can pair this up either with your Wi-Fi or through Bluetooth to your phone, and then just do the texting through your phone, which works fine for all these, in fact. So it's not a big deal, right? It can still function with the Android phone or your Panasonic FZM1 on your PC side of things, right? Other than that, it's a decent little unit. I wish they had a different type of SMA adapter on here, which is a more common one. This is sort of like a reverse one. Don't know why they went with that. And their antenna they sent with the stock one is cut for 868 megahertz, not 915. So you'll have to get a different antenna. I took the one from the Seed Tracker Weo L1 and I put it on here, so it's more in tuned, so to speak. Overall, a pretty cool device to have. Really fancy little thing to bring out. It's like a conversation starter, but it works as a standalone device, which is important. It's quite nice, and you can run other programs on this. I can't stress that enough. It's really a pen testing fun device you can play around with. Next up is the other standalone device. That's the LilyGo TDEC Plus, and this one has a different UI system on here. It's touchscreen, ESP32 module, USB-C rechargeable, and has a GPS inside of it as well. Backlit screen, backlit keyboard, and you can use this little kind of like scroller here in the center. This is sort of like similar to like those IBM ThinkPad cat tongues or mouse scrollers. You can scroll up and down with it, or you can just simply touch and scroll up and down as you wish. You have channel selection, you have node selection, you have talking channels like we did before here. We can even do a little test here. We say type in test, and we push enter, and it will go through. And there you go. It shows up on all these modules and on that as well. So you can use this as your standalone device. It works fairly well. This does have a SD card slot, much like the Cardputer, where you store information on. And this one in particular stores map tiles. Now you can get this map tile off the base GitHub site, I think. And then also you can get it from a Reddit post where a guy uploaded a more in-depth detail map system, and you can zoom in a little bit further in on the level of zooms, which makes this kind of useful, as you can see here, and it gets really zoomed in, and you can pan, you can use your hands to pan and zoom out. So it's quite nice. It's very nice to have a map inside of this. You'll see more advanced makers of these units take this shell out and put it into another case, like a 3D printed case with a bigger battery, more robust system. They charge more money for it, but you can go on the aftermarket and buy your own case, your own battery, and do that yourself if you want it to. So there's plenty of options to kind of modify the LilyGo TDEC Plus. There's the TDEC Original, which I think does not have the GPS and has many advanced features. And again, this comes in two flavors from the LilyGo people. You get it with the external antenna, or you get it with the internal case and the internal antenna, and you can make your own modification on it like I did. We have a pin testing module on the side here, a reset button, which I took out because you kind of hit it too much. And then we have the on and off switch here and the SD card slot. and a 1/4 inch thread on the back here if you want to mount this up on something for whatever reason. So that is the Liligo TDEC Plus. You have a couple options in here. You have name, region, all the stuff. You can do it in-house, and you can turn this off and restart it in Bluetooth mode to pair up with your phone and act as a regular device, much like these other ones here. So you have the option of using as a standalone device or with your phone, whichever way you want, and it gives you a lot of options. It's probably the best unit on the table for flexibility. It's also the biggest one on the table, and it doesn't have a true battery meter in it, so you never know when you're going to run out of battery power. So that's the trade-off with the Liligo. You have trace route, scanner route, mesh detector, all this stuff, packet log. Packet log can be kind of useful for kind of tracking things going on. And trace route. Trace route is not as good on this compared to the Android phone. So if you're going to do trace routing, best to pair it up with the phone and use the UI through that. This one's kind of, I'll show you here real quick for the trace route. We'll start with select a model here. Let's go to something that's close by. We'll do Cartpeter or Rockbound. It might not come back at Rockbound, but it just shows you like one of these and another one of these and a little arrow, and that's about it. It's not very advanced, kind of not very useful, to be honest with you, but it's not really going to trace around in this case, but you can see its limitations here. But moving along from the Liligo TDEC Plus over to a NRF module instead of an ESP32, the benefit of the NRF modules is that they use very low power consumption. You're not going to get Wi-Fi with it. It's not going to be a powerhouse like the ESP32, but you are going to get a good battery life and potentially, just basically a better battery running life at this point. And this one has the same UI as the Cartpeter, although a little bit modified. You have this joystick user interface, the physical user interface here. We have the mode button, which turns the screen on and off to sleep on and off. You have a push-in button here where you can push in, enter, and then you can go down, push enter, send position. So you can scroll to the text here. You can enter text in here via the reply via preset. This is an updated software item where you can kind of select destination or free text. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to use the joystick to use this to talk with. And other than that, it works fairly well, just like the Cartpeter ADV without the keypad in here and without Wi-Fi. It'll connect up with Bluetooth. In fact, that's the one we're running on here right now. And let's go to my Umbro repeater. Let's do a trace route real quick and see how it trace routes with this. So it's direct both ways, and you can view that on the map here. As you can see, blue and red. This is an updated feature at the time of this filming that they updated the Android version of this, so it works fairly well. You don't get that on here. It's just a basic little thing here on the Liligo, just again to reiterate that. And this one, it doesn't really kind of show you as much of the trace route. So this works fairly well with any device, and you can modify it and put different antennas on it. It's got a GPS in it, and you have to assemble it when you get it though, so you got to do it right. That being said, other than that, the buttons are horrible on this. You have to modify them to get them to work correctly in the 3D printed case here. And consistently I keep hitting this reset button, so I'm going to take it out eventually. And the case, if you're really obsessive about having spacing, this case does have spacing on it. It's not a perfect fit, so it's not a very good 3D printed case in that case, no pun intended. It's just really easy to hit the buttons when you're carrying this, so it doesn't make it a very fun experience carrying this in a pocket when all you hear is the beeps and bleeps, and potentially you could be changing options, sending out things without even knowing it. There's no carrying lanyard hole adapter on here, so I don't recommend this one unless you're willing to put up with all the issues with it. And I would say modify your buttons so you can actually use the joystick on the outside. I'm probably going to cut these down or take them out completely because it's just not worth having this in the pocket and dealing with all the buttons pushing. Other than that, it's been my most used unit, as you can tell. I faded off the sticker on it already. It does work fairly well outside of that as a unit that goes along with your phone. Probably the best one out of the bunch for convenience sake with the external antenna adapter. Overall, I wouldn't recommend it for somebody to buy it. It can be a lot of problems. Compared to, say, the Liligo and ADV, it's straight out of the box, but Liligo probably has the most advanced setup, and it's the most buggy out of all of them. The UI, the touching of the screen, everything, the capacitive touchscreen, it can be very buggy. It was very buggy to me in the beginning. But something that you might want to look into is getting one of these, putting it into a box, making a solo node or repeater node out of it. And that's what I did with these modules. I took the board out of this and the battery. I just basically turned it into a repeater node, pre-assembled with the GPS module on it. Now, GPS module does take power out of it, but it's up to you if you want GPS attached to your repeaters or not. It's not necessary. Moving along to the Heltech V3. This is a ESP32. It's got the similar type of UI as the card computer with the base UI here. This is 2715. And again, you can scroll through it with this button on all the options. This is a double button, so you press and hold down. You get different options here. Press and enter, and you can restart it. Again, very simple, very basic. Small battery. Case isn't going to go together that well. It's kind of cheap. We have a basic antenna on here, which is okay, gets the job done. Again, not the best antenna. And you do have a lanyard holder here, which is quite nice. So you can kind of hang that up in a tree if you want to get better reception. The Bluetooth antenna on these aren't that great. It's very short range. They're also functioning as the Wi-Fi antenna on it as well. That's the other thing. This one can do Wi-Fi, whereas the NRF can't. You can use this as part of a base station operation, which I'm doing right now with the FZM1s connected to one upstairs via the Wi-Fi, and it'll act as a client mute or client base if you wanted to. I have mine set as client mute. Basically takes all the information, puts it on the internet, and doesn't retransmit anything out, which is quite nice. Overall, the cheapest out of the bunch here on the table and the most straightforward to use. They do have the Heltech V4s out now, so I don't know how they're going to be working with the newer cases and whatnot. But this one has a small battery, ESP32 module, power hungry. But the benefit is it's cheap. It works once you put it together. It's simple to use with your system, and it does Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Cons is that, again, it's cheap, not the most quality made, short Bluetooth range, and you don't get a GPS module in it, unlike the others that we have reviewed so far. It's the only one on the table without a GPS module, if that makes any difference to you. Next up is the card computer sense cap. This one is the most convenient to carry for obvious reasons. It's very small and it has a lanyard holder here built into it. It has GPS into it. It's using the NRF module, again, the power efficient one. It's got a uncommon type of USB connector, so it can be kind of a pain to buy all these different connectors to charge this thing up. There's no true off switch other than holding down the button here and turning it off manually, but when you go to recharge it, it turns on the unit automatically and it stays on. So there's no way to really turn it off and charge it and keep it off. It does have a buzzer here in the center. It has a LED here in the center too, as well, a green one, and it does make noise as we heard before. Very straightforward, easy to carry one. Battery life is about 1 day, roughly speaking, probably about 9 to 12 hours under general use. If you're using it quite a lot transceiving, it's probably going to be like 5 hours, 6 hours. So it'll last a good amount of time when you're at work. And it's the one I use when I'm at work, or I just don't want to carry, be Mr. Porcupine Man out in my daily life with all these antennas sticking out of my pocket or my back or whatever. So this one's the most convenient, friendly looking one. Something I recommend if you're just one and done. You don't want to have to deal with any of this crap. You just get one of these. You don't have to worry about an antenna, blah, blah, blah. Straightforward. Cons is you can't change the battery, no external antenna port, limited UI, physical UI interface on it, no screen or anything like that. And that's about it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I've been using it for a few weeks now, and it's worked fairly well. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to cut it right about here. I want to thank you for listening, and enjoy your day.